Hi, this is Dylan Brannigan, and today I will be doing a queer reading of Frankenstein. So, to start off with, this presentation I'll be discussing the kind of queer subtext of Frankenstein itself. I'll be looking at several quotes presented throughout the novel to kind of back this up a little bit, and I'll be looking at Victor and Henry's relationship through a queer lens. Um, so, first off is queer coding. Queer coding is when a character is typically coded as queer, be it their mannerisms, kind of attitudes towards certain things, relationships with other people, especially those of the same sex, and kind of slightly more effeminate traits and descriptions. This can be seen in Victor and Henry's kind of interactions and the contrast between Victor and Henry and Victor and Elizabeth, and kind of Victor's own attitudes towards relationships and romance. Um, this quote here clearly shows Victor's own personal viewpoints and kind of the joy Clerval brings. This is in contrast with several times throughout the novel where Victor and Elizabeth are kind of affectionate but not as strongly romantic coded as this. We have several more quotes here. It can be read as Platonic or romantic, kind of depending on your perspective, but from the context and kind of the contrast, it really is more romantic than with the main love interest, Elizabeth. Then we have desire versus expectations. The kind of time period that this is set in, there's a high expectation for Victor to marry a woman. But if we take kind of a narrative lens here, the monster can also represent Victor's desires, and kind of the desires of queer people are usually seen as monstrous and kind of other. So this kind of manifestation of Victor's own desires being something other and horrendous, especially with regards to the time period, is a common queer theme in a lot of queer literature. Same with the viewpoint of it being something unattainable versus what is expected is kind of a staple of queer community in general. This is a quote from Victor's father, kind of experiencing the expectations of and viewpoint of the relationship of Victor and Elizabeth. To back this up is kind of a link between horror and desire, being something other and something monstrous. It's kind of solidified here in terms of the background and context. Um, Queer grief is something that a lot of narratives kind of deal with, especially with regards to the loss of a potential relationship. It's due in part to the history of bury your gays tropes and the AIDS crisis. There is a profound sense of loss that follows the queer community, and it can be read in this. Um, Clerval's death kind of haunts the narrative. It's also seen at the start of the novel where it is referenced multiple times, kind of in the past tense. So we know exactly what's going to happen to Clerval, but it still haunts even just the start of the story. It's such a profound and deep loss that it can be read as a loss of a romantic partner. Um, this is further continued here, as you can see, and the friendship is heavily emphasized on, which is a common staple of queer culture. While Mary Shelley at the time didn't necessarily set out to kind of write a queer story, she really did. And this story has resonated with a lot of people in the queer community who can either relate and emphasize with Victor, who you can also read as asexual, or with the monster itself, desiring something it cannot have because it is deemed other by society, even if that is just simple love. Um, I thank you for watching my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any feedback at all, I am more than happy to hear it, and I really hope you enjoyed it.